Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Love Tips and Velvet Lips. I am Marla Renee Stewart, here to talk about all the different kinds of peen anatomy and stronger O's. It's the beginning of June. Happy Pride Month, y'all. Happy Pride Month. Super excited to talk about this wonderful subject today. So if you haven't gotten my newsletter yet, please make sure you have signed up for my newsletter. All you have to do is go to velvetlips.kit.com/subscribe. In the meantime, though, before we get started on peen anatomy and stronger O's, I want to tell you about the Pleasure Me pop-up. So Eve and I are hosting the Pleasure Me pop-up. It's in West Palm Beach. It is a really nice space. I can't wait to show it to you all. I'm going to create a video, or maybe have Eve create a video of the entire space, what it looks like. So super, super excited to make that happen for you all. But we have all sorts of different things, including last night we had an amazing naked yoga, as well as private sessions. Today is if you want to come and do a photo shoot, a boudoir shoot, all you have to do is book on the website. You just go to velvetlipssexed.com/pleasureme. In addition, we have Wednesdays are our educational day. Thursdays we'll have munches. Fridays are parties, of course. Saturdays are our intensives. So if you want to come through for a Saturday for the intensive, it's going to be a really, really good and fun time. So super excited for people to take advantage of this space. We've got a few beds, we've got lots of swings, lots of benches. So super excited. We're working on a St. Andrew's cross. We're working on it. But in the meantime, please make sure if you have any questions, you can always feel free to DM me, let me know. Or if you want to be a presenter at our mini con at the last weekend of the month, that would be fantastic. So anyway, let's get right on into it, shall we? So we're going to go over Peen Anatomy 101, thinking about a playful guide to pleasure, sensitivity, and of course, stronger orgasms. So Nyara says the best lovers are not the ones who assume they know everything. They are the ones who stay curious, okay? And that is so, so freaking true. The ones who stay curious are the better lovers. I have to tell you, the people who are not curious about your body, not curious about doing other things, not curious about being adventurous, I just know those people are not the people for me. Okay. So I just want to say, like, when you stay curious about somebody, you stay curious about their needs, wants, desires, happiness, like those are the relationships that truly, truly last. And so, again, these are things that you should be curious about. And if you haven't gotten Jess and I's book, The Ultimate Guide to Seduction and Foreplay, please check it out. We kind of go through all the things, and it's a really great way to get to know you and your lover a little bit better. So anyway, when it comes to peen pleasure, many people go straight for the obvious, right? Stroke, lick, rub, repeat. And while there's nothing wrong with a classic move, the bob, there is so much more to explore when you actually understand peen anatomy, okay? So knowing the anatomy of it helps you become a better lover, a better communicator, more confident, pleasure explorer, right? It also helps you understand what feels good, what feels maybe too intense, what needs maybe a softer touch, and what might need a medical check-in if something suddenly changes, right? The peen is part of both the urinary and reproductive systems, and it includes external structures, of course, like the shaft, glans, plus internal and erectile tissue that fills with blood during arousal, right? So let's take a playful little tour of the peen palace, okay? And of course, if you have any comments, feel free to drop your comments in the chat. I'm happy to engage with them with you. So when we understand why peen anatomy matters, it's because pleasure is not a one-size-fits-all. Every peen has its own preferences, again, sensitivities, boundaries, and please do not do that again, or please do that again spots, right? So when you know the basic parts, you can communicate more clearly about touch. What do you like specifically? Avoid overstimulation, right? Well, especially with those sensitive areas. Explore pleasure beyond just the shaft, right? Notice the changes in sensation, pain, erections, or ejaculation, right? A lot of times people get turned on by the sudden vibration of when someone's about to ejaculate, right? Create more intentional intimacy with partners. And come on, let's be honest. We know anatomy knowledge is very, very hot. When you know something about your body or someone else's body, it's really freaking amazing. So there's something deeply seductive about a lover who knows how to touch with curiosity instead of just guessing wildly and, hoping for applause. Okay. So the parts of the peen, right? We got the head, also known as the glans. So the head is often one of the most sensitive areas. Okay, it's located on the tip. I wish I could have a picture, but I'd probably get kicked off all the platforms. It includes the opening of the urethra where urine and semen exit the body. And for some people, the glans love direct stimulation. For others, especially if they are uncircumcised or very sensitive, direct touch can feel like way, way too much. So think of it like a volume knob, right? Some people want the music turned all the way up. And others need you to start soft and build slowly, okay? So you can say, do you like direct touch on the head or does it feel better when I work around it first? And that one question can save you from overstimulation and turn you into a much more attentive pleasure partner. And then there's the frenulum, okay? The frenulum's like tiny little powerhouse, okay? Very sensitive part. It is the sensitive band of tissue on the underside of the penis where the glans meet the shaft, right? It's that nice little divot kind of shaped like this, okay? So a light touch, soft pressure, tongue movement, gentle rhythm here can really create intense sensation. And because it's so sensitive, you don't want to attack it like you're trying to win a carnival game, okay? You got to start gently, use lube, pay attention to breath, body language, sounds, and whether the person is leaning in or pulling away, okay? One pleasure tip that I have is try circling around the frenulum instead of going directly for it the whole time. Teasing the surrounding area can build anticipation without overwhelming the body. And a lot of times in my classes, I show some techniques on how to go around it without overstimulating it, okay? Now there's the corona, okay? So the corona is that part where the head meets the shaft, the crown of pleasure, okay? If if the glans is like the head, right? The corona is the crown in the sense of this area can be like very, very sensitive because it creates a natural edge where pressure, rhythm, and friction can feel especially noticeable. So some people love when the corona is stroked, licked, kissed, teased, with a change in texture, okay? So the corona is like a really great place to kind of slow down. So instead of kind of rushing up and down the shaft, right, like people tend to do, spend time exploring that ridge. Try different speeds. Try different pressure. Try asking whether they prefer broad contact or focused touch. This is where anatomy really turns into artistry. So the shaft is not just a handle, okay? The shaft is the part most people think about first. But even here, there is a great variety, okay? Some people enjoy very firm strokes. Some people enjoy a little softer grip. You're really not going to hurt people in the shaft, generally. Some prefer twisting motions, right? Maybe some two-handed stimulation. Maybe some grinding, some vibration, slow teasing, right? Especially when we're thinking about, again, the seduction learning styles, enhancing them that way. And if you haven't taken my class yet, it's a free class on the art and science of seduction or the art of persuasive communication. Go to velvetlipsexed.com/shop and you can find that a class right there. When we think about the shaft, right, we know it contains erectile tissue. So it includes the corpora cavernosa and the corpus spongiosum, which help the penis become firm during arousal. But remember, harder is not always better, okay? I mean, there's a whole thing called soft cock week, okay? Pressure should be negotiated, especially because too much friction especially without lubrication, can cause discomfort, irritation, can cause some pain, okay? So you can have a simple pleasure check-in, right? Do you want more pressure, less pressure, or the same? Even that question is so simple, but it's direct, but again, wildly useful. Then there are the testicles, okay? Please handle with care, curiosity, and consent. Some people love their balls touched. Some people do not, okay? The testicles or testes are located inside the scrotum and are involved in sperm and testosterone production, okay? But from a pleasure perspective, they are also a very personal zone. So some people love having their testicles touched, cupped, kissed, licked, gently tugged, massaged, sucked, or just included in play, right? Others do not like testicle touch at all, okay? Both are completely valid. It's okay. But why do you think some people have that difference or not? Well, sensitivity, preference, past pain, especially if you got hit in the nuts a lot in childhood, that can cause some serious trauma with people. Sports injuries, okay? Medical experiences, gender feelings, memories of getting hit or kicked in the crotch can all shape how someone responds to touch there. So even somebody who's got kicked in the crotch as a kid, maybe they find it for a kink as a older adult, but some people are like, don't even touch me there because I got traumatized back when I was a kid. So everybody responds very differently. So again, for some people, the balls, you touch them, feels pleasurable. For others, it activates tension or fear, vulnerability, or a hard absolutely not, right? That is why you should never assume to touch people's balls. It's, that it's automatically welcome. Please ask before exploring. So you could say something like, do you like your balls touched? Do you prefer gentle cupping, little light tugging, or no touch? Is there anything I should avoid, right? And if they say no, take it like a champ. Great. You now have useful information. Consent is not rejection, okay? Consent is the roadmap. Then we have the perineum, okay? The sneaky pleasure pathway. And so the perineum is the area between the scrotum and the anus. It's sometimes called the taint, right? But we are keeping it classy-ish today. So this area can be sensitive because it's close to the pelvic floor muscles and internal pleasure pathways, okay? Some people enjoy external pressure there, especially a little, you can kind of feel it a little bit on that P spot, right? So start externally, gently, and of course with consent. Some people like the pressure, especially like during arousal or during climax, but a slow press or a massage, right, over the perineum can add some depth to pleasure without requiring that penetration, okay? How y'all feeling so far? So we went over the head, we went over the frenulum, the corona, the shaft, the testicles, and the perineum, okay? Now, it's when we're thinking about like stronger O's, again, we're thinking about those pelvic floor exercises. So a lot of times people think, oh, pelvic exercises are just for people with vulvas and vaginas. Not the case, right? We know the pelvic floor is a group of muscles that support the bladder and bowel, and it plays a role in our sexual function, okay? So pelvic floor exercises, often called sometimes Kegels, can help strengthen these muscles and may support bladder control, erections, ejaculation control, and sexual performance, okay? So for folks with peens, the pelvic floor is part of the pleasure system. I'm always like, do your exercises. If you can flex the peen, great. Strong pelvic floor muscles can really help with erections, ejaculation control, orgasm intensity, body awareness, pelvic stability, and urinary control, okay? Now, the key word here is flexible, okay? A strong pelvic floor is great, but an overly tight, like if you are generally anxious, an overly tight pelvic floor can contribute to, again, discomfort, pain, or tension. So there's got to be a right balance. That means you have to do pelvic floor work It's not about like squeezing harder. Really, it's about learning how to relax, release, and breathe, right? Breathe. You want the right amount of goodness when it comes to the pelvic floor. So if you're like, I don't even know what the pelvic floor muscle is or how to find it, one common way to identify the pelvic floor is to imagine stopping the flow of urine, right? You want to hold your pee, okay? Or holding back gas. So different set of muscles, but you want to think about all those muscles down there, okay? This gives you a sense of which muscles are involved, right? So one for pee, one for gas, different muscles, all intertangled there, okay? But do not make a habit of stopping urine midstream as an exercise because it actually can interfere with healthy bladder emptying. Again, we're only doing this when we can, like we're sitting down or we're standing up and we can flex, okay? We're not actually stopping the flow of pee. The NHS guidance specifically cautions against practicing pelvic floor exercises by stopping actual urine flow. So try instead to like sit or like lie down comfortably, take a slow inhale. And as you exhale, gently lift the muscles you would use to stop urine or stop gas. And hold for a few seconds, okay? Release fully and then breathe. Do not clench your butt muscles, your thighs, or your abs like you are bracing for a roller coaster, okay? This should feel like a subtle internal lift, not a full body workout, okay? So again, breathing in, reflexing, release. Breathing in, flex, release. So you see, I'm not flexing all the way up like this. But again, overall, communication is what's going to make anatomy more pleasurable, okay? The best peen anatomy lesson is not just about memorizing all the different parts, although they're great. It's about learning how to ask better questions. Where are you the most sensitive? Do you like more pressure, less pressure? Is the head too sensitive for a direct touch? Do you like your balls to be touched? Do you want me to stay there or switch it up? What does your body love that people often miss? A lot of times, folks with peens, their bodies kind of get, I want to say, ignored in a sense. And so when you touch their body, they're really like, oh my gosh, like that feels really nice. So again, we really want to pay attention to, bodies with peens. So again, those questions that I just gave you, those turn touch into a collaboration. And collaboration, of course, is where the magic always lives. So just know that peen anatomy is not that complicated, but it is often under discussed, right? The frenulum, the corona, gland, shaft, testicles, perineum, pelvic floor all have something to teach us about pleasure, sensitivity, communication, and of course, care. So when you know the body better, you touch better. When you ask better questions, you create better experiences. When you explore with curiosity, you move from routine to revelation. So yes, learn the anatomy, map the pleasure, respect the boundaries, strengthen the pelvic floor, and remember, the best lovers are not the ones who assume they know freaking everything. They are the ones who stay curious, okay? Thank you for joining me today on our little love tips, Velvet Lips. I'm hoping that you got something out of this today. Again, I'm doing collaboration with Eve in West Palm Beach for the month of June. So come through, velvetlipsexed.com/pleasure-me. If you have not downloaded my erotic activity list or bucket list, you can go to velvetlips.kit.com/VL-bucket-list. And of course, feel free to DM me if you have any questions at all. So thank you all for joining me on Instagram Live. Thank you for joining me on Facebook, on YouTube. Again, feel free to email me if you have any questions. You can email me at gettips@velvetlipsexed.com. And I will see you all next Tuesday. Okay. All right. Bye, y'all.